Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Dominions 5. We are playing as LA Man, and already I have screwed up because, like I said, I am re recording this based on my archive of turns from this game, and apparently I did not have the first turn anywhere. But that's okay, nothing usually happens during the first turn, so instead we have the second turn, which in some ways is really the first turn. Everybody has declared their profits. Uh, we have Lemuria's profit, our profit. Let's be rational. Because my pretender god was called the sharpest tool, and so I thought that I was going to have a theme about naming my commanders, sort of clever, witty names, and I tried to do that, and then I kind of forgot to do it a lot of times. But anyway, so let's be rational. The profit of the sharpest tool. We have Ulm, and yeah, so his profit is 10,000-year-old vampire Loli. Marignan, Bretagne, the captain shall be known as a prophet of Bobby. Tianchi, Dayu is the prophet of Phony, and Midgard, Sigmund is the prophet of rare earth metal. Okay. So let's look at this map. We start over here. As a starting position, this is not terrible. So on the first turn, you can't see these guys. And in fact, let's be sure, yeah, everything is turned on here, so you'll see everything. On the first turn, it appears... Hang on a minute. It looks like the... Okay, only for this turn. Sorry, I freaked out a bit because I noticed that there were no orders set for the first turn, but obviously I didn't steal the first turn, so for some reason I don't have it. All right, we're off to a great start on this series. As a first turn, on the first turn, I profited my captain, and I recruited these two mages. The Magister Arcane and a Judge. And having the Judges early, as you see, I didn't get lucky. I didn't get any randoms here, although I got a random Fire guy, so that's nice. And the idea is to get at least one Death guy and at least one Fire guy, so you can site search those things. And then in the meantime, they're useful for reinforcing your armies and whatnot. Our starting army is awful. They give you some longbows. I mean, longbows are good, but not for expanding. And these terrible, terrible infantry. So, of course, we are recruiting these guys because they're awesome. So I obviously put these guys together in in formations and scripted them and send them to attack somebody. But I don't have those orders, so I'm not going to show that right now. You'll see what I did in the next turn. Other than that, one nice thing about Man is that... you tend to recruit based on or be limited by resources, so you have some gold, so often you can hire mercenaries. Pro tip, don't try to hire mercenaries when you're playing against the AI, because the AI, if you have AI on a hard difficulty, because they have infinite money and they always cheat, and so they always end up getting the mercs. But against players, go for it. And I suppose we should talk about research. I decided to go for construction too early because we have native air income and air mages. We can forge some owl quills, which gives us a nice little research boost early on, so that is what I went for. And one final thing that I should mention is mods. We are only playing with one mod, which is a very common mod called Worthy Heroes that most multiplayer games are played with. Another one that people sometimes play with is called... Better Arena or something like that. It gives you a artifact when you win the arena instead of a random useless item. Worthy Heroes adds a few random heroes to nations that sort of sorely need them. Anyways, so that was it for turn one. Normally at this point I would talk about the scripting and how you should script your first battle, but I don't have those orders, so you'll see them in the next turn. We are going to go ahead and get a few turns done in one episode, because if I've done this correctly, we should have all the turns in order here. Of course I haven't, right? So, I succeeded. Okay. All right, so first thing first, you can tell that I did in fact recruit the mercs and got them. So I recruited the mercs. Then we had a random event. We got growth and luck, which is nice, but then we got unrest 10. Okay, and there was a battle in Scythia. So let's view the battle, and I'll pause right at the beginning. Okay, yes, this is how I scripted the battle. So I'll show this on the scripting screen too, but through testing, so these guys are basically heavy infantry. So you want their garbage to hit these guys first, and if you have, but these guys are also archers, right? So they're just gonna be shooting, right? So if you have these guys on hold and attack, but you put them right here, they're just going to charge ahead, and because they're so bad, they're going to just get killed by whatever's coming right at you. So you got to put them way in the back on hold and attack so that they kind of get here at the same time as these guys are getting here. And finally, the other thing you'll notice is that my archers are far enough in front so that they don't have to run all the way up and fire from the beginning. You might as well just have them here because they have enough range that they can hit the back row. So if you're lucky, you can just kill the commander with an easy arrow at the beginning. Meanwhile, we don't have sacreds to bless, so we are just doing Sermon of Courage, Sermon of Courage, Sermon of Courage, and then our Smite. So let's speed this up. So the archers just kind of pepper the guys with crossbow bolts. And you see, even so, you see how they get here? Like, this is not perfectly scripted, but yeah, at least these guys went for our heavy troops instead of them, which allows these guys to survive a bit longer. And then, yes, eventually they rout because we've killed enough of their guys. So that's basically that battle. So we end up losing 5 of the spearmen, right? So I had decided to attack this province because it looked like the easiest province to take over. Next, we recruited the same 2 things again. We this time got a random fire guy, so that's great. Then we got our macemen. These are not very good mercs, but they're extra meat that you can just throw in front. And apparently, on the last turn, I didn't have the orders, but apparently I switched the recruitment to a bunch of crossbows. And I suppose the reasoning for that was that, and this is not very, I don't know why I did this again, probably a lot of mistakes. Well, the reason for recruiting crossbows instead of these guys is because you can get more of them. And so if you don't need anybody to be standing in front, you might as well get more bolts in the air. So that is the reason. Crossbows have 11 precision, which is fine. So that is exactly why I did it. And I was hoping that I could just put the mercs in front. And so let's look at the scripting here. So yes, that was exactly the plan. So I have these guys still on. Oh, I have them on hold and attack rear because they're useless and maybe they'll kill a commander. Who knows? And then these guys are fire in front. But I've got all of these guys in front with their shields so that the mercs will kill these guys and these guys can just sit behind and shoot stuff. And they're being reinforced by this useless guy. So that is that turn. I guess there were no other mercs, so let's go and we can fit a few more turns in this episode for sure. And it will always be a surprise to see if actually I, in fact, have the next turn. I think, yes. Okay, we did have the next turn. So why don't we look at this battle and see if my master plan worked. So yes. It kind of worked, but notice that all my archers had to move forward a little bit, so that's not ideal. Also, this guy is poorly scripted. So these guys were on hold and attack. They move forward. They cause one squad to rout, but these guys kind of miss completely and slam into my guys. And unfortunately take some of the crossbowmen with them before routing. So all told, I lost 1 crossbowman. So that could have been fixed if I had my defenders or tower guards standing a bit further in front and move the whole formation a bit, like maybe 2 squares forward. Half the macemen died, which is what I hired them to do. Random event, more unrest. So that was that turn. And then we have, something I did not do for some strange reason is I did not put up the province defense this turn. You should have province defense everywhere, not tons, but at least I think there's an event that triggers if you have less than 6, so that's what people keep saying. I'd love to confirm that. But 6 is a good minimum. At least 1, so that if somebody attacks you, you know what attacked you. Now, again, this is not a great... Mistakes were made. I decide to head out this way because this looks easier than this. Which is... Actually, this is not a terrible decision. This could have been fine, but I decided to go further out west. I'm sure I had some valid reason at the point, at the time. Also, it's worth mentioning, actually, something we haven't done yet is let's look at the throne. So this is a throne game. And this was maybe a mistake by the host, but only 5 points required with these thrones mean that it's very easy to win with just sort of a throne rush. However, we have the Throne of Life, which gives nature and growth. Fortune gives luck and astral. Zeal gives a bit, and these guys give a bit of a bless to your sacreds. This one gives gems and gold, and might also gives sacred buffs. So nothing super fancy in these thrones. Okay, we got another Fire 1 guy, and we are still basically recruiting the same thing. At this point, I've switched into recruiting longbows and knights, and I believe I am preparing to attack one of these other... I'm planning against one of these other neighbors. So actually, we didn't talk about the Indies much, but let's look at what's in my cap circle. Here we have militias, heavy infantry, and archer, so that's not too bad, and you can take this out with a lot of things. Crossbowmen, light infantry is similar. Here, though, we have crossbow and heavy cav. So that's pretty nasty. And I remember... I've sent out my scout this way, which I didn't show the last turn. But basically, this scout is trying to figure out what is in these rich farmland provinces. And what we find out is that there's heavy cav here. I didn't show it last turn, but there was a bunch of heavy cav here. So that's a bummer because I really wanted to get these, and heavy cav is annoying to take on. So yeah, that is what is going on in this turn. Let's load up another. Load, continue old game, turn 4. Yeah, this is the turn. And apparently I had also hired another mercenary group here. So let's watch this battle. This was basically the second fight with the mercs. Again, I have these guys started too far back, so you might as well move them forward. I have the surviving guys on guard commander. This is just fairly straightforward Indies. I brave macemen charge ahead. And again, here, this is bad scripting, right? Because no reason to lose these crossbows. They should be running into my defenders, not these unarmored crossbows. So we lost, but this is weird. This report says that I didn't lose any, but it really looked like I lost some crossbows, so that is mysterious. And again, we bought these guys. So this is a bit of a mistake in the sense that I bought them, again, to be meat shields. However, then I decide to send them against here, thinking that they will be enough to take over this province alone. And maybe I'm right. I don't remember if I'm right. What I decide to do then is... yeah, and here's another weird thing. So I decide to send these guys against this province. I think this might have been a misclick, because clearly there's only like... It's not a lot of them. Yeah, I think this might have been a misclick, because I send these guys to suicide basically into here, where there's no reason to do that. This 20 militias and light infantry is not tough, but these are not good enough to take that on. So I don't know why I did that, and clearly that was a mistake. Combining these two mercs together would have been enough. So I'm pretty sure I fail here next turn. Whereas here, I see this is a rich province and decide to go after it with these guys. Meanwhile, back at home, we've gotten pretty lucky so far with our judges. We got a Fire Death guy. And so Fire Death guy and a random dude are going to go site searching over here. And then we are recruiting some more longbow and heavy cav. And I've recruited a new commander who's going to lead this army out to somewhere. And I forget where at this point. So already we've made some mistakes, which is good. Learn from our mistakes, right? Let us go to the next turn, which is turn number 5. Okay, so let's watch these battles. This was... well, I guess this is our main army. Apparently I still have not fixed this formation. And this doesn't look very encouraging. Oh, we get a nice rout on those guys. Thank you, archers. But this looks like it's gonna hurt. So the crossbowmen rout. And somehow I do pull it off. Yeah. This was a bit of an expensive loss. I think... I mean, not an expensive loss. That's not really true. But losing the 5 crossbowmen was inevitable, given that I was facing this many light infantry. I don't think these tower guards alone could have provided enough of a shield. But if I'd kept the mercs with me, then that wouldn't have been an issue. Here are those mercs just kind of dying for no reason. So again, this was very questionable. Maybe it was just a misclick. I'm not sure. But yeah, they just kind of die. And then here is the city guard, these are totally trash militia. And I forget what happens here, so we're about to find out. They get an instant rout on those guys. These guys are heavy. Look at how tough these guys, like, they compare to how crappy the militia are. Oh, wow, I actually succeed. Good job, guys. And we only lose 10 of them. All right, so I guess that was a good call. And then... yeah, so... Alright, I had left this judge here for some reason. And now I have taken... I guess he was patrolling... I guess I got in a random event with Unrest, so he was patrolling it down to get a bit of income. Then I take the survivors of this, plus 3 extra crossbows, to come and claim this easy-to-claim province down here. I think upcoming is we're about to see some terrible decision making on my part. So anyways, this is the battle that's about to happen here, which is, we know that this is a pretty weak province, so hopefully we can take this. Meanwhile, I'm taking... See, I did have a plan. These mercs were here, they were going to come here, and then they were going to fight these crossbowmen and heavy cav. Of course, this alone can take crossbowmen and heavy cav, but the idea is to combine it with my new army from home, which has... this army from home has some longbowmen, some defenders, and some heavy cav. And the idea, I think, here was that these... there were a bunch of crossbowmen, and so hopefully my knights... This was the plan. Hopefully my knights could attack rear, so skip past the heavy cav and kill their archers, and after that probably kill their commander. That these guys would somehow take out the cavalry. Of course, I have longbowmen to fight cavalry, so this is pretty stupid. It should be crossbows. And then these guys, I guess, whatever. And then these guys were going to kind of absorb and pin down the cavalry so that these guys can fire shots at it, right? So that's the plan. So take your bets. Take some bets now and see if you think they're going to win. Meanwhile, in recruitment land, we have... Oh, we've gotten construction 3, by the way. So I'm making some alquils. I got an air... 3 random, which is always nice. I'm recruiting a priest because I guess I'm thinking I want to eventually make... I don't know why I'm recruiting a priest. I guess, I mean, I got the randoms that I needed, so I don't need another mage, maybe. I'm honestly not sure. We're site searching here. And here I'm deciding to go with the heavy cav. I guess at that point I was deciding that to take out these guys, heavy cav was going to be more useful for expansion than the defenders. In hindsight, I don't know. Maybe I would just make piles of defenders. I don't know if I had a lot of time to playtest and to test the expansion on LA Man. But the heavy cav isn't terrible. You can't really go wrong with it. Anyways, so that was this turn. If you think that this battle is going to go well, press 1. If you think it's going to go badly, press 2. And I'm going to load up. Actually, this is a good time to stop. And we're going to end this episode here. It's been about 20 minutes. In the next one, we are going to see whether this is enough to take out crossbowmen and heavy cav. So, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care.